Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of We're the New Adults. I'm your boy TJ Williams. I'm gonna be your host for this podcast. This is episode 13, Handling Redirection. Y'all, I hope y'all are enjoying season one as much as I am, because I really am just so grateful for all the love and support. And it's always been love and support since the beginning, but to see it grow and more people finding out about my podcast, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, more opportunities have been opening up just from me having a podcast. So when things like that happen, it just makes you feel like you're doing the right thing, you're going in the right direction. But this episode, this episode is to talk about redirection and handling that redirection, because sometimes we have plans, and my mom always says the best way to make God laugh is to have a plan, because most time we have a plan, God has another plan for us, and we think the world is ending, we think things are not going our way just because we get redirected. But I'm gonna get to it. Okay, so as I was saying, we make plans, right? We make plans for whether it's our future, we make plans for even just our daily task. And a lot of the times whenever things happen, whenever things get in the way of our plans, we think bad, we think negatively about it. And I think that as new adults, sometimes you have to look at things from a different perspective. You have to look at things from sometimes from God's point of view. And when God redirects us, or when he cancels our plans, or gets in the way of our plans, it's because he's trying to protect us. And at the time we don't know what he's trying to protect us from, but later on we end up seeing, like, okay, if I would have went this way, it would have been hell, even more hell, than how we felt in the moment being redirected. So a lot of the times we need to just look at things from a greater, bigger perspective than in the moment. And I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to look past the moment, because when you're in the moment, that's all you can think about. You're like, oh my God, like, why is one thing happening after another? Like, what did I do wrong? And a lot of the times you didn't do anything wrong. You're doing everything right. And God is he's such an amazing God, to where, and we have to remember, he's our father, just like a regular father. He's gonna watch you make mistakes. He's gonna try to point you in the right direction. And if he can save you from something, he's gonna save you from something. It's been plenty of times where I've been redirected, and I didn't understand in the moment. And I can come up with a couple of times where I've been redirected. And the first one that comes to mind is it was one year for Bayou Classic. And Bayou Classic is an annual event that goes on in South Louisiana, New Orleans, Grambling, and Southern. Those are the two teams that play. Everyone comes out, and you have good food. You wear your best fit, and you go to the game, the Battle of the Bands. It's a whole shindig. Me and my cousin, we went to Bayou Classic, and I remember I'm always the one kind of in charge for, like, booking the room, making sure everything is in order. I'm always that person. And y'all have heard me say that on other podcasts, on my other episodes. I'm most time the trip planner. So when it came to this trip, I think it was a hurricane that had just came through the city. So it was a lot of hotels that were occupied, because a lot of people from the storms needed places to stay. I didn't really check my email, and I really don't even know if they emailed me, but long story short, we got to New Orleans the day of Bayou Classic and got to the hotel just for them to find out that they had never gotten our reservation. And not even that they never got it, but they had to cancel it due to the hurricane. And when I got to the front desk, and I told them my name and everything, and they told me that they got the room canceled, I was like, okay, so what does that mean? Like, is there a refund? Does that mean, like, y'all have another hotel for us to stay in? Like, I just really didn't know, and that had never happened to me before. So I'm just kind of confused, and my cousin's in the car. Thank God it was just me in there, because she probably would have been like, oh my God, TJ, da da da. And it wasn't even my fault. It was my fault, but it wasn't my fault. It was kind of out of my hands. Anyways, we ended up having to find a hotel on spot. Trying to look around, trying to be on Google Maps, really just trying to find a hotel. And honestly, it took a lot trying to find one, because it was the day of Bayou Classic, and everybody had pretty much gotten their rooms way before coming. So me trying to get a room the day of, I just kept seeing no rooms, no space. And that was really saddening, because it's like, okay, we have everything else in line, but we just really need a place to stay. So I finally found this one room, and I ended up looking it up, calling to make sure they had the room available. They ended up saying, yes, we have the room available. So me and my cousin went there. Was not the best room at all. I think we ended up walking in there, and it was just like terrible. It was like stains on the bed. Definitely giving more motel. And I'm not gonna lie, me and my cousin are both a little uppity. We're a little uppity when it comes to the rooms. You don't want to be sleeping anywhere now. So yes, when we walked in there, we like, A white refrigerator. That's why.
I was shocked, honey. I was in tears almost. And it has a white refrigerator. I was like, oh, not a white refrigerator. Girl, please put your shoes on. Let's go find you a home, honey. Ooh.
But I was grateful. I was grateful we had a room. It was a little cheaper. So yeah. So we ended up getting settled in, changing, and heading out, having a good time that day. We had a great time that day, and that was just the first day that we were there. We planned on staying the night, and I think we had pretty much made it to everything as far as the game and everything. But we had just wanted to have somewhere to stay because we wanted to go out that night. I think who was supposed to be performing that night? Nardo Wick. Nardo Wick was supposed to be performing that night. And let me say, this is before Nardo Wick was even big. And I was trying to be there because I think he had that one popping song or whatever. And I just wanted to be there in the mix, at the party with Nardo Wick. And so we get back to our room and the key doesn't work. And so I'm like, okay, I did have the key kind of close to my phone, whatever. Maybe I need to get another key. So we leave. It's funny, but it's not funny. So we leave the room and we go to the front desk. I'm like, hey sir, like, my key's not working. And so he looks at the his computer. He looks at what room we're in. He asks for my last name and he says, oh, it says that y'all were supposed to check out today. I'm like, huh? I'm like, no. We just checked in today. Like, there's no way we're supposed to check out today. We just checked in today. And he's like, no, you only got it for one night. And I was like, no. There's no way. Like, there's no way I only got it for one night. Just to clarify, guys, I'm sorry, my mind is bad. We got there the day before. And so whenever we checked in, got there, we stayed one night, and then that's the next day is when we went to Bayou Classic. And so when we got back to the room, that's when all this is going on. But we did stay one night. So my apologies. But I was like, is there any way can we get it for another night? And he was like, we don't have the room available anymore. At that moment, I was just like, okay, TJ. Once again, once again messed up, but I was just like, what is going on? Like, whatever, like, why is it one thing after another? And so look behind us, and our luggage is sitting in the lobby. Our luggage is sitting in the lobby because since we didn't check out, they got all of our stuff and moved it to the lobby. And my cousin freaked out. She was like, they touched our stuff. They did what? Let me make sure all my stuff is together. Let me make sure all my stuff together. And so I'm like, oh my God, like, it could not get any worse. Oh my God. So he said there's no more rooms available. And so at this point, I'm just like, you know what? She's over it. I'm over it. I'm just like, I don't even know what else to do. And so my cousin, thank God, she stays in Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is like an hour from New Orleans. So I call my cousin. I'm like, hey girl, look, so we end up getting into a situation. Is there any way we can stay, the night with you, we head out in the morning? She said, of course, no, yeah, like, of course, and yeah, of course, I knew that she was gonna say yes. That's just who my cousin is. We love to hang out with each other, so it was no question. But we ended up having to leave Bayou Classic that night. And it was definitely unfortunate because, like I said, I wanted to go to the party. I wanted to go on Bourbon Street. I wanted to do, all that good stuff. But we ended up getting on the road that night, and we had all our stuff intact. And at the end of the day, we were okay. We were okay. So we got to Baton Rouge. And I will say the night in Baton Rouge ended up being a way more better experience because we was able to bond with our cousin, have a good, intimate, fun night. And it wasn't with all the extra people and all that stuff. And it was actually a good night. So wake up the next morning. First thing I see on my phone, big old shooting on Bourbon Street. Big old shooting on Bourbon Street and big old shooting at the party that me and my cousin were supposed to go to. And I was literally like, wow. Literally, people were on our phones texting us, trying to make sure we were okay. Like, are y'all good? Because everybody has seen it. I think it had made it to the shade room. And that was like so crazy because look, here I am trying to figure out, okay, why is this happening to me? Like, why is the room not available? Why did I only book it for one night on accident, And why are we having to leave, to go to Baton Rouge the night that we want to be in the city? And to wake up to that news of the shooting and everything, it was just like, okay, God was protecting us. God, we didn't see it in the moment, but God was like, okay, y'all don't need to be here tonight. So I'm gonna make it any way possible for y'all to be going the opposite direction. And that was honestly crazy to me. And I just appreciate my relationship with God so much because He's always gonna look out for me. He's always gonna look out for you. You may not understand in the moment of why this is happening, or why can't I be around everybody else, or why can't I do like everybody else. But sometimes you're not meant to be around everybody else. Sometimes you're not meant to do the things that everybody else is doing. And that protection, that favor that that God has over you, that's a blessing. And when God don't play about you, He don't play about you. So miss that party. Leave that city. You have to do whatever God is telling you to do, and you have to move whenever God's telling you to move. And sometimes it's hard. I know I struggle with hearing God. And a lot of the times I feel like He has to put things in motion, for me, so that I can just end up going a certain way, because sometimes it is hard for me to hear God over the other noise, but you can't let that other noise outweigh, what God is saying and how God is telling you to move. But yeah, so redirection, it's another funny story. I be having a lot of funny stories for y'all, and it's funny now in the moment. It don't be funny. I know that it happened to me so that I could tell people about it today. So, yeah, so anyways, for my 20th birthday. I was set to go to Pensacola, Florida. I had said that I was gonna drive. Pensacola from where I live is only like maybe 6 or 7 hours. So instead of buying a flight, I'm like, let's take a road trip. Like, why not? So that morning we ended up loading up the car. I think it was my car. Yes, it was definitely my car. My black car. I had a little black Ford. We loaded up my black Ford with, I think, 6 bags of luggage, 6 people in the car. Car wasn't that big now, but we made it work. Loaded up the car that morning, and we headed out to Pensacola. I will say I did a terrible job of like not checking the maintenance of my car before leaving, and that's one thing that I can also give y'all a tip on. Check them tires. Check that oil, check everything before you get on the road. And I finally have learned to do that at this big age in my life after having incidents happen. But I'm going to check them tires. I'm going to check everything before I leave every single time, because you just never know. And you of course, you pray, thank Lord, please protect us on the way. But if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, then God's going to be like, okay, now, there's only so much I can do. But, anyways, yeah, so we headed out and got on the road to Pensacola. We're on the road, and the first thing that happened, my cousin was ahead of us. It was me and my cousin. We were both following each other. 2 people were in that car as well, and then the rest of everybody else was in my car. So we ended up driving or whatever, and the first thing that I noticed was I left my tennis shoes. And these tennis shoes were vital, beneficial for my outfit. They were important. So I was like, y'all, I'm sorry. We had got maybe like 30 minutes down the road. I'm like, y'all, I'm sorry. Like, we have to turn around. I forgot my shoes. I forgot my shoes at home. And I was not about to, for my birthday, I was not going to go without some shoes that I needed for my outfit. So thank God it was only 30 minutes. So we turn around. They're like, okay. My cousin said she was going to wait for us where they were. They weren't going to turn around. So we end up turning around, going back home, all the way back to my house, get my shoes. And I'm like, okay, y'all, we can really head out now. We can really head out. Still did not check nothing. Still was not even worried about nothing. So we ended up getting back in the car, going down. We're leaving again, getting back on the road to at least catch up to where my cousin had gotten. And before I know it, my wheels start shaking. And if anybody knows when your wheels start shaking, y'all know what sign that is. Wheels start shaking, and I notice it, but like music is loud. We laughing, we talking, so really not even trying to pay attention to it like that. But I'm like, I don't know. So we'll start shaking, and before you know it, pop! I panic. My friend at the time, she ended up having to grab the wheel, pull us over because my tire had exploded. At this point, we're on the side of the road. My tire has popped. And yeah, we have gotten at least, I want to say 30 minutes once again, 30 to 45 minutes once again on the side of the road. And I was just like, Lord, what is going on? I'm like, first with my shoes, second with my tire popping. And I'm like, I'm trying to get there. Like, I had everything planned out to get there at a certain time. We're going to do A, B, C. And yeah, so with me having to be on the side of the road, that was having us be more delayed, And so I'm just like, oh my God, like, this is not happening on my birthday trip. Like, why is this happening? Like, Lord, like, this is my 20th birthday. Like, what's going on? So End up having a spare tire in my back car, in the back seat of my car, and I do know how to change a spare. That's one thing I do know how to do. But the way my tire had exploded so much, it was no way for me to even take the tire off. Like, it was just so hard for me to even use the bolt thing to take it off. It was just hard, you know. So I end up having to call somebody. I called my mom, I called my dad, or whatever, and they told me to find the nearest tire place or whatever. So I did, and so we waited a good while. I think I want to say we waited a good 2 hours, 2 hours for the tire people to finally come. And so when they came, they checked my tire and they were about to change it, but they told me, they was like, these two other tires in the front, one in the back, they're both bad. They was like, you need to change both of these. If you're gonna get on the road to head to wherever you're heading, you need to change them all. I'm like, oh my god. And so the way I had it set up was, okay, I'm gonna have to pay for this on my own, and this is money that I have for the trip. And I talked about this one time before. I really feel like my friends could have pitched in a little bit. That's just how I feel. Maybe I'm tripping, maybe I'm crazy, I don't know. But I just feel like, okay, y'all are all with me riding. You know, you're hearing that it's not just one tire, it's three. You know, can I get at least a little 25, a little something, you know, from each of y'all? You know, like, I just feel I wanted more help. And thank God that goes back to episode 2. You're the company you keep. Yeah, watch who you keep around you. Anyways, so yes, so he ends up, you know, replacing the tire, but he said that he only had one with him. Like, he was gonna have to, like, get two, you know, from the actual tire place. So he said he was gonna have to tow my car, and yeah, we're gonna have to go with him to the tire place. So I'm like, okay, Lord, like, all right, sure, whatever. So we end up getting the car towed, end up getting in the car with him, and we headed to the tire place. Get to the tire place, and you know, the tires are very expensive, you know, and not just for one, like I said, but for three. So I ended up having to pay for three tires out of my birthday money. And that really took all my birthday money away. It really did. And, you know, I like I said, when you have to look at things from a different perspective, thank God I had it. You know, thank God I had just enough, you know, to get the tires, you know. And so I paid for it, you know, and we were on our way again. Finally got there late at night. And one thing I will say, the whole time that I was looking up the weather before going to Pensacola, it was supposed to be storming the whole weekend. The whole weekend. So when we finally got there, I saw like aftermath of like rain, storming, you know, and all that stuff. I'm like, Lord, like, you know, but it had cleared up. And so by the time we got there, I'm like, oh my God, like, it was raining and storming pretty bad here. And so look at the weather, and the rain is no more on the weather app. The rain is not for the next day. It's not for the day after that. All the rain had passed us. All the rain had been while we were sitting waiting on the tire. The rain and stuff was ahead of us, already storming and everything. So the plans that I had for the day we were supposed to get there, they were going to be canceled anyway because of the rain. So when we got there and there was no more rain, I'm like, okay, Lord, okay, Lord, I see the delay. Was it a little much? Yes, but I see why you delayed us. And so I just had to maneuver, and I had to make the plans that were supposed to be for that day, make them for the next day. And when I say it was not no rain in sight, we were able to get on the water, go to the beach, have an amazing time without any storm, without any bad weather. And that, you know, I say that to say, you know, appreciate the delay. There is a reason in the delay. Like I said, you may not understand at the time why God is having to hold you back, or God is like trying to set you back, but it's because that he sees things that you don't. He sees things that are ahead of you that you can't even see yet. He's clearing the way, and that's what I try to tell people that are close to me. Like, God is clearing the way. You know, when we look at delay, we look at a delay as, oh my God, like, I've been waiting so long. Like, why hasn't it happened yet? But it's because there are things going on ahead of you that you can't even see. That it's chaos going on ahead of you. You know, that God is like, okay, I don't want you a part of that. So I'm gonna hold you back. I'm gonna delay you in this way or in that way, in different forms, so that all that can pass. So that when you do make it to your destination, it's clear and sunny skies. Come on, clear and sunny skies. And you know, that is a big lesson as a new adult that we need to understand. You know, it's not gonna always be sunshine and rainbows. We need to learn how to handle redirection. And that even with me right now, like, like I had been said I wanted to move. I had been said that I wanted to do X, Y, and Z. But like now in this state in my life, where I am, I know why I'm still around. I know why God chose me to stay. I know why I haven't been able to make that move yet, because there are still things that He needs me to do here where I am. And that's also another thing. Maybe you haven't done everything that you thought you needed to do where you're currently at. Maybe God has more for you where you are now, so that whenever you get to your next destination, that it's going to be even easier, whenever you finally get there. Sometimes it's like we have to go through the hardships to get to the easier days, and I think that is very important. With being a new adult, we're gonna go through things. We're not gonna understand why we go through things, and it's to sometimes be a testimony for other people, and that's what this podcast is about. Once again, is to let y'all know that I go through things just like y'all go through things, and you're not alone. And for me to tell you things that I've been through and situations that I've been in, of course, it is laughable. It is, but it goes to show that it happens to everybody. Everybody has delay, everybody has redirection. It's about how you handle that redirection and accepting it. So, I think that's all I have for y'all today. Thank y'all for tuning in to episode 13, Handling Redirection. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.